The compass metaphor we've explained this way. Suppose you went out in the woods and you got lost completely. Your cell phone dies, you don't know where you are, you're a couple hours away from home, you don't even know what direction you came from, you're trying to figure out how to get back, and all you have is a magnetic compass to get you back. So you take out the magnetic compass, and instead of pointing to magnetic north, the compass always points to you. How effective would that compass be? And last time, we said that the New Testament writers explain in many different ways that Jesus is God. And in fact, if you want an easy memory aid for this, if you remember JCH for Jesus Christ Holy, and you go to John 1, Colossians 1, and Hebrews 1, you can see that they call Jesus God in so many ways directly. When we looked at other passages in the New Testament, we found that Jesus had all of these attributes according to the New Testament documents. He's God in the flesh, they called him. They said he's the creator. He's the exact representation of God's being. He's not only a creator, but a sustainer. So he not only creates the universe, he sustains it to this very moment. He's the Messiah. He's a servant. Because the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So he is also the mediator between God and man. He is both God and man, so he can mediate between the two parties. And he's Lord and Savior. And we went through all the scriptures last time. Remember, several programs ago, we went through the fact that God is one infinite being, and that he has all these attributes. He's self-existent, he's eternal, he's all-powerful, he's all-knowing, he's everywhere present, he's unchangeable, he's simple spirit. These are things that God couldn't share with anybody else. These are the attributes of only God, an infinite being. He could share these things, though: holy, loving, just, good, true, personal, beautiful. But if Jesus is God, how can he have all these attributes when obviously there are some things he didn't appear to have, like he wasn't all-knowing? The Trinity is not three gods. There are not three gods in the Godhead. The Trinity is one God in three persons. We'll get to it later. The Trinity is also not God, Mary, and Jesus. I had lunch with an imam once when I was going through my doctrinal program, and we got talking about the Trinity, and I said, well, what do you think the Trinity is? He said, well, God had sex with Mary, and that gave us Jesus. It's not against reason. The Trinity may be beyond reason. In other words, we can't completely comprehend it. We can apprehend it, but we can't completely comprehend it. What's the difference? Well, you can stand in front of an ocean and apprehend there's an ocean in front of you, right? Even if you can't completely comprehend everything going on in that ocean. You can apprehend there's something there, but you can't completely comprehend. And the same thing is true here with the Trinity. Now, think about this for a second. If God truly is infinite, and that's what we mean by God, then it would be strange if God wasn't strange to us, right? I mean, we're finite. Do we think we're going to understand everything about God, an infinite being? No. Even when we get to heaven, we're not going to become like God. People think, you get to heaven, I'm going to figure all this out. No, you're not. You're not going to become God when you get to heaven. I know everything now. No, you don't. You'll still learn. So it would be strange if God was completely understandable and completely within our grasp, if he's infinite. Also, as I just said, he's not completely understood, the Trinity, and here's the key, it's not likely to be invented. In fact, here are the implications without the Trinity. There is no eternal love. Why? Because if you're a strict monotheistic being with no plurality in it, just strict monotheism like Allah, who are you going to love? There's nobody to love. There's no spirit of love. But in a Trinity, you have a lover, a loved one, and a spirit of love. There is no eternal love without the Trinity. So the Trinity actually solves an issue rather than creates it. It means if there's no Trinity, power trumps love. Why? Because before God created, he created using power, there was no such thing as love. Eventually there was love because there were other things to love like human beings, but up to that point, who's he going to love? It also means that God is not self-sufficient. Why? Because he has no one to love. He needs somebody to love. It also means that God is not perfect. How can you be perfect if love isn't part of your being? Or at least you can't express it. It also means that with the Trinity, love precedes life. What do we mean by that? If you really think love is important, and conservatives and liberals ought to agree on that, right? The only worldview that has a robust view of eternal love is Christianity. Because love preceded even our creation.